Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Miss Michelle. Today we're going to make Beyond Meat meatloaf muffins. So for this project, you'll need some breadcrumbs, and you can use regular or gluten-free. And I have 2 packs of Beyond Meat. If you're a meatitarian, you can use regular meat, but the Beyond Meat stuff is pretty good, and I know some meat eaters who like to eat it too. Some onion, pepper, and a little bit of parsley, or you can use basil. 2 eggs, some salt and pepper, ketchup, and I'm gonna actually use a mixture of ketchup and barbecue sauce. The original recipe calls for just ketchup, but you can try the combo if you want, and you can also try marinara sauce if you don't have ketchup. And then I'm just going to do a splash of Worcestershire sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 425. And then I'm going to grease my muffin tin so it'll be ready to go. And then I'm going to start with my more liquidy ingredients. So I'm going to add my 2 eggs. And then my ketchup barbecue sauce mixture. I'm going to do about 1/3 of a cup. So I'm just going to mix them in the 1/3 of a cup measuring cup here. And then I'll just do a little splash. I have vegetarian Worcestershire here, and some salt and pepper. And I'm just going to use a fork to beat the eggs and mix everything together here. And then I'll start getting my vegetables ready to add. So I'll probably do about half this pepper and half the onion. And I'm gonna cut them into really small pieces. Okay, and then I like to use these white onions because they're a little bit sweeter than yellow onions. If you're not a huge fan of onions, but you still want a little bit of a onion flavor, you could also substitute green onions. They're not quite as oniony, so yeah, they give it more of a subtle flavor. Plus, I feel like they don't make your eyes cry as much when you cut them, so that's a bonus. But I'm just gonna dice up, it's a little bit less than half my onion, and if you cut it into really small pieces, then you won't notice the texture of it as much, but you'll still get some of that nice flavor. You can also puree it. So I know some people, it adds a lot of flavor, but some people don't like the texture, so it's a good way to kind of sneak it in there and not get those big chunks of onion. And then I'm going to use some fresh parsley here. And like I said, you could also use basil. And if you don't have any fresh herbs, you can always just use dried herbs. You just use probably about 2 or 3 teaspoons. And with the fresh, I'm going to use a couple tablespoons. But you can kind of improvise with your herbs, and you can add different herbs if you like, or a combination. But I always like to get some herbs in there because it gives it a nice fresh flavor. Just going to mix these up a little bit, and then I'll add my Beyond Meat, and my recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of ground beef, but these are 1 pound each. I'm just gonna use both of them, and I think it'll be just fine. Okay, and then I'm going to add a cup of these seasoned breadcrumbs. And then I'm just gonna mix everything together really well. And I like the fork because I can kind of mash up my Beyond Meat and mix the vegetables in there and make sure everything's incorporated together really nicely. And then I think since I added some extra, I'm gonna just need a little bit more liquid. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more ketchup and barbecue sauce in here. That way it won't get too dry when I bake it. And you can always improvise a little bit when you're cooking. If you want to add anything extra to this, you can try it out. Ooh, perfect timing. I'm almost ready to put these in. Yeah, if you like this, if you like spicy stuff, you could add a little bit of hot sauce or some jalapenos. Pretty much anything you'd put in like a burger or meatballs, which I don't have a lot of experience with, but I'm just kind of starting to make this kind of stuff with Beyond Meat. Okay, so now I'm just gonna try to get an equal amount into each muffin cup. And these are fun because they make nice little individual portions. So they're perfect if you want to put one in your lunchbox for lunch, or you can put them on a little hamburger bun and make a little meatloaf sandwich. And if you have extra, they freeze really well too. Okay, so these are just about ready to go in. I'm just gonna make a little bit more of my ketchup and barbecue sauce mixture and put a little glaze over the top of each one. Okay, so I'm just gonna bake these in my 425 oven. They say about 25 minutes. Since I haven't tried it with the Beyond Meat, I'm gonna come back and check them after 20 and just see how they're doing. So I'll put these in and set my timer. Okay, so my little meatloaf muffins are done. I did keep them in for the full 25 minutes. They're a little oily and bubbling, so you might want to put like an extra cookie sheet underneath them to catch any drips. But they look delicious. Okay, so I'm just gonna let these cool down for a little bit and then I'll take them out, and you could use a knife to go around the edge or a little spatula, but they should come out pretty easily since we greased the pan. And then you can serve them up with your favorite sides or use them for lunch, or like I said earlier, freeze them. So yeah, thanks for watching my video. I hope you like this project, and happy muffin meatloaf making.